Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Destiny from Desphixs and welcome back to another video in the e-commerce project using Django. In this one, we'll get started working with notifications, marking notifications as seen, and also removing notifications from our dashboard. That is what we'll be doing. Hopefully you will enjoy the video and learn something new. So let's get started. The very first thing I will do will be to open up my code editor like we've been doing. And I want you to open up the customer app and Fuse PY. So we'll start off by writing a very simple function that's going to help us list out all the notification that a particular customer has. And then we'll also write another function that will help us mark those notifications as seen. So just down here, I'm going to define a new function called notice, and I will just pass in requests over there and pass. Now I want to make this function to be login required. So I'm going to pass in the login required decorator over there at the top of the function. The very first thing I'm going to do now is go ahead and list out all the notifications. So I'll say notice underscore list, or you could just say notice just like this, should be equal to customer models dot notification dot objects dot filter. And what do we want to filter by? So we want to filter by user should be equal to request.user, which basically means, hey, fetch all the notification where the user that is attached to a particular notification is the user that is logged in, which is the logged in customer. So that is the very first one that we want to do. And we also want to fetch all notifications that hasn't been seen yet. Okay. And when you've done that, let's create a context. So we'll create a context and then we'll pass in notice over there and also notice over here. Good. Now we'll go ahead and return render. And then we'll pass in request in there. And we need to then pass in the template name where we will be listing out the notifications. And that will basically be in customer/notice.html. And to make sure that we are passing in the notifications that we have filtered into the template, you want to pass in the context dictionary alongside the templates in the render function. Okay, so after you have done that, let's also create another function that is going to be called mark noti sin. So mark underscore noti underscore sin, and then over here I'll pass in request, and also I want to pass in ID, because for you to mark a particular notification as seen, you need to be able to identify what notification the user is clicking on or what notification the customer is clicking on. And for you to be able to identify what notification they are clicking on, you need some sort of identification. And in this case, the notification ID that was automatically appended when a notification gets created. So I will pass in the ID over here, and we need to fetch this notification based on the ID. So we've got multiple notifications in our database, but each and every one of these notifications have a unique ID. Now, if you want to fetch one notification, all you need to do is say noti should be equal to customer models.notification.objects.get. Now we are using the get method basically because we are trying to fetch one item. If you want to fetch more than one item, use the filter. If you want to fetch all the items, use the all method. Okay. So we say does get, user should be equal to request.user, ID should be equal to ID. So the ID that was stored in the database should match whatever ID that the user is passing in over here to mark a notification as seen. Don't worry, you will see how this works. Now all we just need to say is noti.send should be equal to true. Then you save noti.save. So depending on how you want your application to be, if you don't want to, if a user marks a notification as seen and for some reason you don't want the notification to be stored in your database and take up spaces, then you could just go ahead and delete this notification. You could just say noti.delete and it will be gone. But this time around, I don't want to delete. I just want to leave it for reference in case a user in the future wants to go back and see some notification, maybe for reference or something, and we don't want the notification to be removed. We want it to still be there, but it should be marked as seen. So that is why I'm going to use the save method. Very good. And after you have done this, let's go ahead and return messages. So I'll say messages.success, and I'm going to pass in a request. And then you could say notification marked marked as sin. Very good. And when that has happened, then we will say return redirect, and then I'll pass in customer notice. Very good. So that is where I want to take the customer back to after a notification gets deleted. Now that we have done this too, let's go ahead and register it in our URLs PY. So you could open up your URLs PY for the customer, and if you want, you could duplicate this one and call this notice, just like that, which is for listing out all the notifications. And remember, it should not have an ID. Notice should not have an ID. But this one that I duplicated now, which is going to be the mark noticing, is going to have an ID parameter over here. So leave the ID, change the view, and also change the name to mark noticing. All right, that is pretty much everything that I want. Now let's go ahead and create the template for this. Remember that it will be in the template customer, and it will be a template that will be called notice.html. Very good. And now I want you to scroll down to your Z raw templates, and I want you to open up the customer and grab notice HTML from here. Copy everything in there, close it up, come over to your blank notice HTML and paste what you copied. Very good. So after you have done this, remember the extents and the block contents that we have been using throughout this tutorial. You could grab that from any of the other files that we have over here. Maybe this. So I'm going to grab two, this and here. Very good. I hope you get this drill by now. So when you have done this, let's go ahead and see what it looks like. I will open up my terminal and make sure that my server is running. Of course it is. And I will open this up on my browser. There you go. It is opened up on my browser. Now, all I just need to do is come over to the customer dashboard by clicking on this button. And we need to have another, another link over here that shows us notice, which is notification, so that we can come over to the notification. So what I want you to do is get back to your code, open up sidebar HTML, and maybe alongside the wish list or the profile, you could just duplicate one of this and add another one for notifications. So notifications, and this should be customer notice. Very good. Change the icon to FA-bell. So when you use bell, you basically, show over here that, yeah, it's some kind of notification link. Now, if you click on this, there you go. This is what we want. This is how it looks. Very good. So all I'm going to do right now is start changing up things. For example, in the notice over here where we have the sidebar content, you could come over to one of the files that we've used before and basically grab the sidebar from here, and you could just replace it with this here, and you should see how it looks now. There you go. Can you see our sidebar is now coming in? Now we could change up every other thing that we have over here. So notifications, placeholder counts should be notice.count. Then that's going to show how many unread notifications that we have. You can see currently we have just 2 unread notifications, and then we need to change up this ones here. So all we just need to do is look for the item. I think this is it, and then you want to loop through the item. Say for n in notice, and then paste what you've just copied, and now you should see 2 of this. There you go. So now you can see 2 of these notifications here, and all we just need to do now is start changing up the informations that we have here. So instead of this placeholder notification type, it's going to be n.type, and for this date, it's basically going to be n.date, and for the product, it will be n.product.title. Okay, so let's see what we have now. Okay, I think this should be n.products.name. Oh, yep, that will not work. And that is because if you open up the notification model, you will see that we don't actually have that over here. So for now, I will just leave that out till we start working on updates and refactoring. Okay, so this is what we should have now. Very good. New order here, new order here. Good, that's it. Now, to be able to mark notifications as seen, all you need to do is create a new URL over here, and you want to redirect this to customer mark underscore noti underscore scene. And remember that it takes ID as a parameter, which means if you don't pass an ID here and you're trying to delete this notification, it will basically show that, hey, I am trying to find an ID and a way to identify the notification that you're trying to delete, but for some reason you didn't pass an ID, so I don't know how to delete the notification. So this is the error that you will get. And if you don't want to get this error, just say n.id, and that will basically, let's see, you see no errors. So now when you click on either of this, click on that, you see notification marked as seen, and now we are left with one notification. That is pretty much it. Everything seems to be working perfectly well now for notification. Don't bother about the paginations. This is what we'll work on after we've worked with the next section, which should be addresses and profile. So after we've worked with addresses and profile, then we will come back and work with pagination before heading over to the vendor dashboard, and then that should be it for the tutorial. So that is going to be it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and learned something new. If there is something that you don't understand, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. Also, you could consider shooting a mail to desphixs@gmail.com. For some reason I didn't see your comments, and I'll also be very happy to reply you. And I want you to check out desphixs.io. Everything is almost ready. We're almost going live. That is going to be it. I hope to see you guys in the next video. And until then, mad love. Peace out.